Unqualified as Fuck is the ultimate podcast for anyone hustling to find happiness in this crazy world. Whether you're deep in a relationship, stuck in a situationship, heartbroken, or just feeling lost, we've got your back.
Join us as we share our own experiences and guide you on your journey of self-awareness and elevation.
We're committed to offering diverse perspectives because we understand that there's more than one way to get shit done.
By the way, we're with the shits.
So tap in, get lit,
and let's get to the bag. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Unqualified as Fuck podcast. I know you guys were unsure if we was going to keep it coming, but we are. And today we have a special guest.
Pause. Introduce your co-host.
Oh, yeah. Let me introduce my co-host, Jed. I forgot
Dick.
all about y'all. We have a guest, and I said, fuck y'all.
And I am Opulent 6.
We
were so excited.
We
forgot
got
to
it.
introduce everybody.
That's Jenny B. Thick.
It's okay.
That's
We
my
just told her
co-host,
to
Jenny
do the
B.
same
Thick.
intro and then introduce
Pops
the guest.
right
And she
to it.
wouldn't have
That's
guessed
all
it.
right. We getting our mode back.
Yeah, we getting
That's
our
Jenny
role
B.
back.
Thick.
And this
And
is
she B. Stick.
the handsome
You're so
opulent
rude.
6, because he be opulent.
We ain't been drinking yet.
No, what's the one?
But yes, so today we have a guest. We listen to your comments, and everyone in the comments keeps saying that I need therapy and that we need therapy together as a group. And so we decided to bring on a licensed psychotherapist, Soko Reynoso. Welcome, Soko. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we are so excited to have our first official guest, and we are so honored that she came on our show. So let's get into it, y'all.
I'm looking forward to her telling these girls how wrong they are.
Oh,
Wow.
Go ahead.
Is that the angle 6?
Yes, I'm looking forward to
See
that.
what I'm
Go
saying?
right, get right there. Start telling them where they wrong at.
That's
Go
like,
ahead.
This is the only
On your
reason
mark,
why
it said
men go
go.
to therapy, just for the therapist to tell them that
On your
they're
mark, it
wrong.
said go. I'm looking forward to it. You ready?
Yeah, that's interesting, though. So my question to start would be, when you see couples come to therapy, how is the dynamic? Like, do you often see one side trying to be right all the time, like one gender, or is it just depends on the situation?
It depends on the situation. I will say what brings a lot of couples to therapy is infidelity.
Oh, yeah.
So typically on the part of the man. And so you have a man usually coming in with his tail between his legs. That's usually the energy.
That's
How do you
because
feel
men
about-
try to fix it. And women, when they cheat, they just leave altogether. Ain't no therapy. I'm
Wait,
going to the next house.
wait.
They go, when
see
a
how he
woman
spun
when
that
a
real
woman's
quick?
unhappy, she need a man. Men are often unhappy. They don't really leave. It's when a woman unhappy, when your relationship is really in trouble for the
I have
most
heard
part,
that.
especially it's when the woman is unhappy, when the man is unhappy, it's like, hey, whatever. Shut
I'll
up.
just
You do
cheat
something
instead.
wrong, we go to
Yeah.
therapy.
Or maybe the women are just not getting caught. 'Cause they're
Women
alive.
tend
She
to
would
be a
know.
little more covert.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is true that women are more covert.
Yeah.
But also when women cheat, men are very unlikely to forgive and work
Yeah.
through it. And the
True.
opposite,
This is
I
absolutely
can
true.
see
It's-
that. I was
it's-
gonna say, yeah, I can imagine.
I can see that. But recently I've heard multiple men say that they've stayed with their woman who cheated. I was really shocked. Like, I've heard that in the last month, a few
Those
different
men are strong. Those are
Yeah.
some strong men because that's a different.
Mhm.
Men have a different threshold for emotional pain than women. I don't know how y'all endure some of the things that some men, but we don't. We hardwired. Like, I'm mad that my wife gave the man at Starbucks her name, and that's what she's
For
supposed
her-
to do.
for her
Yeah,
cup of
drink. Yeah, I
coffee?
don't care. Why are you giving other men your name?
Wait,
I don't
does
care.
that honestly upset you?
No, I'm being facetious.
Okay.
She was like, we gotta go back.
She said, wait.
I'm here for a
Hold
reason.
on.
I gotta
She said-
if that was real, we gotta jump on
She
it.
said, wait.
Hold up.
Why
girl.
are you giving him your name? I don't
Well, let's
care if
talk
you work
to
at
her.
Starbucks.
No, but speaking to your point, were you being facetious when you mentioned that you think that men have a lower threshold for emotional pain than women?
No.
Yes.
You were being facetious?
Oh, no, I was
Yeah,
not.
okay, you're being
I
real.
was being
You-
real.
you
For the
were-
most part, men don't have the same emotional bandwidth
Yeah.
as women when it comes to that. Like the devastation, like when a man has to find out that his lady stepped out on him, it's a different type of cry. He's a different type. I don't even think he's the same man after that. I don't even know how productive he can be in that relationship
I
after
can see
that because of what it does to a man in a different different. It hits different. So I'm not even sure how he goes back to function. Especially depends on the details.
What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are the word threshold's interesting. I don't know if I want to, I kind of want to lean into it, but kind of don't. I think you're onto something though, that women are more emotionally attuned, in tune. We process our emotions through conversation with other women, whereas men have emotional experiences. And I think you all are taught like that you're not supposed to express and talk about them. You're supposed to just like deal with it, be strong, go out there and win and forget about it, right? And so I think there is a difference in the ability, I think, that we each think we have to feel our emotions.
I agree with that. I always say this. When you go through a breakup, right? I feel like men, they have to harbor a lot of their feelings because they don't have the same ability to be vulnerable like we do. Like they can, but they don't always have the safe space to do it in. So for instance, I can call Jen, I can call Six, I can call you, I call my friends and be crying and say whatever. And they're just like, okay, they'll work through it with you. But a man does that, it just seems a lot more extreme. So they internalize a lot of that pain and they usually go to other women or vices to kind of like heal and feel. That's why Six always says women hurt first, men hurt worse.
Absolutely.
Because women first, we feel everything. And then we're going and we're talking to everyone and we're crying all day. And then a man is internalizing it. And then later down the line, it starts to eat away at him. And he's like, shit, but right away, he doesn't feel it like we feel it. And I've noticed that. Which is another thing that I have a question about. Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to jump on to men not being able to feel and talk about how sitting with the emotion, being able to hold space for your difficult emotions, that allows for growth. So one thing that we women are taught that we have permission to cry, right? When you're sad, you cry. Well, grief transforms because when you grieve something, you have to sit, reflect, think about what you did, he did, what am I going to do differently, right? And so what we're seeing right now is that women are more emotionally aware and we're evolving at a faster rate right now because we're allowed to feel and move through and grow. Whereas men, because you guys don't think you have permission to feel, you stay stuck in your emotion. And there isn't as much growth. Now, that is not the man's fault. That is societal issues impacting that functioning, but that is something that is very present and making it hard for the two sexes to connect.
I cry, though. I cry all the time.
You do?
Yeah.
When what?
When in the morning I wake up and realize I still don't have a mother. Sometimes I cry before I leave the house. I cry all the time. And then when I get done crying, I get to do what the fuck I got to do. It ain't the water on the outside of a boat that make a boat sink. It's the water on the inside. So I don't believe in holding in my tears. I think the strongest people on earth are criers because after we get done crying, we're going to get the hell up and do what we got to do and we're going to move forward. We're very progressive. But again, it ain't the water on the outside of a boat that make it sink. It's the water on the inside. And I think crying is cathartic. Like if you think about it, when you brush your teeth, you use toothpaste and what else?
Toothbrush.
And what else?
Water.
Okay.
Water.
When you wash your clothes, you use soap and
water.
All right. Everything is cleansed through water. You cleansing your soul. When you cry, you getting it out. So I cry.
But see, you're at a level of evolution that a lot of men haven't reached, and I feel like a lot of men don't. Like you said, it's societal, and it's also how, especially Black men, were raised. Like, don't cry, or you're, like if you cry, you're looked down upon, or you're a bitch, or you're not a man, or you're not strong. And we talked about this on one of our last episodes. Any man, I haven't seen a lot of men cry, but any man that was vulnerable enough to cry with me, I really look at them as way more courageous and just like, wow, that takes a lot of strength and vulnerability for a man to cry. Yeah. So I never even see my dad cry. So,
wow.
Do you see a lot of men cry during therapy?
No.
I was going to ask some other questions.
The way she said that was a hard no.
No. I witnessed someone this week. I want to say, hold on, let me do the math real quick, y'all. I think that this was the first time I witnessed a man cry in therapy, and he identifies as gay. Yeah.
What do you hear from men the most? Like, what's their side of the therapy session when you're sitting with couples? What do you hear the most?
Yeah, what I'm gonna reframe the question. What's the most ubiquitous gripe that men have that come in? Like one of the top three, like all men pretty much are saying this. If you can what is the most ubiquitous gripe that can be found in all therapy sessions with men involved?
So because it's usually infidelity that brings them to couples work, I'll say what it is that women have like this never ending list of things that the man needs to do to prove that he is loyal again. So it's that, like, never done. Okay, let's talk about this emotional response. Six.
He felt that in his soul.
Went down to the pinky toe.
Have you had this experience?
That one went down to the pinky toe. Yeah. In my 40 plus years of life, I've definitely experienced that before. Absolutely. I think, but I'm a little different. I appreciate almost everything. I think life should be felt. It's like a buffet. So I like the buffet of emotions. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm disappointed, sometimes I'm trepidatious, sometimes I'm melancholy. Like, it's a buffet, and that's how you live. You know, especially if you're an artist, you gotta be aware of what you're feeling so you can harness it later. Especially if, again, an artist, an actor, a thespian, you gotta be able to harness it. But put that to the side. I believe that we're here to taste life. And not just taste the good stuff, because if we don't taste bad and everything in between, we have nothing to compare and contrast it to, and we have no reference point. What is happy if you're never sad? There's no such thing as happy.
It's like, what
so
is light if there's
appreciate
never dark?
every little I think I call it emotional buffet. And I think we here to experience life on the emotional level and all that it comes with, because no one emotion is like exclusive to an individual. Like, I'm the only one who feel pain, or I'm the only one. Nah, we all get to feel that at some point. We all get to feel despair. If you take a mother that's, you know, trying to raise her children and don't know where the money gonna come from, despair. You can take Sean Diddy Combs right now. He's probably feeling despair. No matter where you are, who you are, we're all gonna taste some of this stuff. So just, you know, swish it around in your mouth and then spit out what you don't like.
Great question.
Yeah.
So back to what you were saying.
Yeah, about these men. And
Yeah.
therapy.
So when these women are going in on that list of things,
Yeah.
what is their response typically?
Wait, when the women are going in about what the man is not doing?
Yeah, like, you need to do this, or you need to be this.
That long
Retreat,
list you was talking about. What is the man?
Do the man just comply just to be like, shut up?
Yes, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's what
I
I
hate
figured.
it. And so in couples work, sometimes what I will do separate sessions and together sessions, right? So I can like help them see it differently too. And I think it speaks to this is something that gets on my nerves as a 40-year-old woman. The 20-somethings that I'm seeing right now who are like looking to check boxes, like, does he buy this? Does he take me on trips? Does he just, it's like, are you even, and this goes to the women who've been cheated on, are you in this relationship to be loved and to love? Or are you in
That
it
gave me chills.
to feel like you're important? Are you in
Ooh.
it to feel like someone cares about you?
Ooh.
You know, and that's when like your wounding shows up in the relationship and makes it so that the other person feels like it's impossible to please you.
Oh, that just gave me chills like a motherfucker. But I want to also say this. Shout out to motherfuckers going to therapy at 20-something years old.
Also that. Thank you.
But I will say this, and this is something that I actually struggled with. That's why it resonates with me. There were a lot of times in relationships that I had to reflect and say, do I just want you to want me? Because I want to feel wanted, because I want to feel needed? Am I doing all of these things for you so I can feel like someone needs me and I'm worthy enough to be a part of something? Am I sacrificing my boundaries and relinquishing everything that I believe in so I can feel like I'm a part of a family, a unit? And I've noticed myself do that a lot of times in relationships where I'll just literally like, my life becomes about this person. Like, whatever they need, I'll drop everything. I'll literally straight up miss my own shit because they need me. You know, like, I became that person a lot in relationships because I have this strong desire to feel like I'm a part of something and that I'm worthy. And I had to learn more recently that my worth isn't determined by the value of, first of all, my worth isn't determined by a man saying that I'm worthy.
Yes,
Correct.
it is. No, I'm playing.
Look,
I be over here ready to launch. Like, what?
I was like, hold on.
But that begs the next question that I have, because that's a good, like, So what is the balance of like a healthy relationship and like love versus like what I will do for you to show love versus what just real organic love is?
Good question.
I think I know, but I would love to hear.
I mean, well, I'll say this. I cannot answer that question in totality,
Yeah,
right? Because
that's a
every
hard
relationship
thing.
is different.
Sure.
But like using what you just shared, I would say that someone who notices and is aware that they need to feel like they belong somewhere, that if you strive to get that from somewhere else, you're always going to be reaching. So it's coming from like a less than whole place.
Mm-hmm.
So the work to be done, I think, is before the relationship, or if you can do it in the relationship, choosing yourself and noticing times that you don't choose yourself. And, so that the cup is filled, so that there isn't anything necessarily unhealthy about wanting to be needed, right? Like that's relationship too. But this way, it would be you pouring into him from a full cup because you want to love him and honor him and show him that you care. It wouldn't be because
it's an anxious.
It's more from a whole grounded place.
Okay. Do you
That's
think
one way I think a relationship could be healthier?
Yeah.
Do you think that attachment styles, like anxious attachment and avoidant attachment styles, can be based upon the person? And I ask because I felt like I was an anxious attachment, and then my ex came on the show and he was saying how much of an avoidant person I am and how I have an avoidant attachment
I see you
style.
more avoidant too.
Really?
Yeah, you don't like to confront things if you can.
You're right.
If you can avoid it, you would.
But he would also say like you would go stay at a hotel, you would not talk to me for 3 days if it got too intense, like you just needed to like shut down completely. But then it just seems like I identify with being anxious though too.
Well, okay, all things, diagnoses, all these terms and words that we use, all this shit's on a spectrum, okay?
Yeah.
We're all somewhere along it. And just because at one point you maybe did have anxious attachment, you can flip through some other experience, become avoidant. So we flow through it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
That does.
So what advice do you give to women with these lists, with this long list of, hey, I need you to do this to prove you love me? And he's just like, oh my God. Like, so what is your kind of overall advice for that?
And let me add to the question. Do you think that we're living in a society now that is way more transactional versus like, this is love? It kind of seems like we're in a place where it's like, well, if you're not doing this for me, then or if you're broke, I can't. It's like it's giving like very transactional versus like this is pure, this is love. We can just roll around in the car laughing and vibing,
A year ago, I was living in New Orleans. So I lived in New Orleans from 2021 to 2023, and I just moved back a year ago to LA. And I lived in Mexico. I lived in Oakland. LA is transactional. It is not this way everywhere. There are other places where it's like, me and you, what you need, baby? I got you. You need this? Okay. Women pouring into men and then men pouring back into women. So yes, it has become transactional here, and I don't like it. It is not good for the essence of love. But wait, Jen, there was a specific question you had?
Yeah, I was asking more about this like list, this laundry list of like, check these things off to...
Yeah, I would ask women and men who have these lists to ask themselves, if you did not get that from your partner, how would you feel? And then I would ask you, is there anything else in your life that has ever made you feel that way? And the answer is probably yes. And I would tell you that you need to tend to the pain of that old wound so that you're not carrying that into these other relationships, demanding things that relationships aren't exactly made for. Relationships are reciprocity, love, care, support, right? Helping someone take themselves higher and closer to the divine, right? That ain't got shit to do with things, right? Wow. It's the energy you show up with.
Damn, that's deep, actually. What do you say to... Okay, so this is going to take a little deeper because everyone on the podcast constantly comments and says Azar needs therapy. So based on... I love how you think that's so funny.
I don't think it's funny. I think the way you're introducing it.
Because I wanna address that, the elephant in the room, right? Because, like I said, a lot of people have said that. And I have done therapy. I actually did therapy at your practice with another therapist for a while, and my question would be, based off of what you know about me and what you've seen on the show, what are some things that you can address? So I don't even know the exact question, but like, what would you think that?
Or maybe it's a better question is like, you watched some of the episodes.
Yeah.
What have you gathered from what you've seen?
Yeah, there you go. Like the wounds or whatever you're feeling. What are you feeling?
If you heard about that blowout, but
I missed it, but I heard about it. Okay, so I would say that, Azar, you have the gift of communication and enthusiasm and charisma. Okay, so you lead with that.
Okay.
And I see ourselves like we are all these graphs, okay? And with all these bars going up, and there are certain levels that we excel in and certain levels that we are still working on, okay? So when I'm speaking to you, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with you. I'm saying this is maybe an area for development.
Yes, I don't take it personal.
It seems like, so the dynamic between y'all two is something else. And you, I'm like, Jimmy Thick over there quiet. Jimmy Thick. Usually quiet folks. I'm like, is she anxious, quiet, or what's happening over here? I'm not sure. So, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Jimmy Thick over there quiet is funny as shit.
But
okay.
It seems like Azar, this is the dynamic. Like in the most simplest terms, it seems like Azar, you're screaming for Six to understand you because you're like, it's like you like begging for someone to finally love you. That's the energy. That
now I will cry.
Love her.
And I think that it's fucking great that you're transparent too. You like let
people say that.
You don't hold nothing back.
Yeah, I know.
So everyone here has some fucked up shit going on within them, but you're the one who lets us in on it, okay? So that's what I pick up. And then for you, Six, are you okay with me addressing you? Because she asked the question and now I'm moving on to you.
Okay.
You okay? Okay. I am curious because for you, the dynamic from you seems like it's like if only I could have had one or more women understand what I'm trying to say to Azar, some pain, some deep pain in my life could have been avoided. So you guys are both like trying really hard to get the other person to believe and understand something so that neither of you have to feel the pain that you have felt before. And I want you all to know that's what we do. We're wired to be secure, be safe, and to survive, right? And so it shows up when we have these conversations about love because it's like, damn, if this man would have done it like this, or if this woman would have just done this, I could have not had to endure that or those things, more than one, possibly.
Most of the time I spend time trying to give Azar and the women and men on this platform tried and true successful modus operandi, especially when it comes to relationships. Me and my wife just celebrated 18 years together, and we came from nothing. Now we have a whole lot of something.
For sure.
And we didn't get there by wishful thinking and osmosis. It took work. It took preparation, planning. It took continuous self-development on both of our ends. So I try to impart that knowledge to everybody that say, hey, I'm looking for this type of relationship, or I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. You have to find it within yourself first, because we live in an era right now where everybody wants to find the perfect woman or perfect man, instead of quote unquote trying to be the perfect man or be the perfect woman, and you attract that. Everybody want to go outside of what they can naturally attract and shoot higher, which is fine. Sure, go ahead. But you will probably mitigate a lot of loss of time, years, and tears if you become what you want to attract and then apply a successful modus operandi in that relationship. It takes more than love to be in love. It takes more than vibes to glue a relationship together, Azar.
Oh, I was gonna.
Vibes are helpful. Vibes are the
It
intro
is, but it
necessity.
takes more than that.
You're right.
It takes
you're right.
way more than
I
that.
know that. And the thing
I know.
about, I know. The thing about,
she's on her.
No, because
you got her acting good. She won't budge. She's got it under control.
No, because
I'll get her. I'll get her.
because
You're trying to get her to lose control?
yeah, he does every time.
I'll get
Ew.
She's
He does
under
it every
control.
time.
She's like, nope.
Why would you
nope.
do that to someone you love?
So she could let it out.
So, okay. I want to go back to, and it's okay if you don't want to talk about this, but our greatest gifts come from our wounds, okay? And so I am a therapist because I lived through a lot of emotional turmoil as a child, and I wish that all families were healthy, because if all my families were healthy, guess what I would be? Super duper well, right? And instead I've had to work through a lot and become who I want to, attract. 6, because you seem very passionate about helping women understand this, I can't help but believe that you may not have experienced good love early on or had like a family unit that was super healthy.
I did not experience that earlier. I had to create it myself.
Yep.
I didn't come from a healthy, abundant family, but a healthy, abundant family came from me.
That's right.
But
That's
I wasn't, as a man, I didn't realize I had mommy issues until and it was like an epiphany. It really just tapped me on the shoulder. But I was like mid-20s when I realized, like, oh shit, wait. And I remember where I was at. I was at a gas station, and it literally was a supreme epiphany. Something just tapped me on the shoulder while I was pumping gas and was like, here's what you need to think about. And I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, I act the way I act in these relationships because I don't trust none of these women. Because I back then felt like the woman who was supposed to love me first didn't. So I know y'all about to play some games, so I'm finna get the games going before you. But I had to realize that was the nucleus of all my emotional, nefarious behavior. But when I began to heal that and bond and repair the relationship with my mother and get it to a better level from where we were, because we can't go back to when we was kids, that's when I began to see relationships in women differently. But I think a lot of men have mother issues because our mothers are our first girlfriend.
Yep.
And
they say that.
we can have issues. Your issue don't have to be, well, my mommy wasn't there. Your mommy could have been there and overplayed her part. And now you want your wife and girlfriend to overplay. So the mommy issue look different. It ain't just like a bad thing or the thing people associated with, like, oh, you had a bad mother. Sometimes your mother was too good contextually, and it warped what you think a woman should be in your life.
Too, yeah,
so that's still a mommy issue, but a lot of us have them.
I got to jump on that because I'm so glad you brought that up, because that has been overlooked in the therapeutic space since like maybe 3 years ago. Really, we have focused on the father relationship with sons and with daughters, and haven't talked about the mother stuff. And so a lot of, myself included, a lot of women are now coming to see that their relational issues don't have to do with them and their father. It's tied up with them and their mother. So it's the primary relationship. That's that's your nourishment, right? Yeah, you need everything from that woman. Once you're born, you could survive with just your mother. It wouldn't be ideal, right? You could not survive with just your father if you were a baby. You know, there ain't no...
she about to start this.
What I'm saying is like...
She saw that episode about
the breastfeeding. No, it's biology. This is biology. I'm just saying that is the primary.
Yeah,
True.
That's okay.
When they come out it is what it is.
They need,
yeah.
So this is interesting because I'm gonna get a little vulnerable on here.
She's ready to cry. She's ready. She's like, I'm gonna go in my bag. I'm gonna pull it out while I got it here. She's about to pull out everything for you, Soko. I hope y'all listening. If y'all out there listening, y'all got questions, because we'll bring Soko back if y'all want it.
Yeah.
And we'll ask her questions on y'all behalf, because she's very knowledgeable, and I love the way that she deliver and convey
Me too.
the answers and
Absolutely.
solutions.
Me too.
Thank you, Jenny B. Thick.
Jenny B. Thick. I love how
They're
you say
looking
Jenny
good. I love the name. I really love the
Oh
name.
my God, I forgot how I got it.
I gave it to you. Fool. Ain't that?
Oh, you told me to put. You did.
Well,
Wow. I forgot where that came. That was just a gift card.
Okay, so let me get a little vulnerable out here. Okay, so I want to start by saying the reason that I'm vulnerable and the reason that I'm raw and the reason that I say a lot of things on this podcast that most people probably wouldn't share. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people, even in my family, that are like, girl, you shouldn't have said that, or like, that's just too exposing yourself. You need to keep some of yourself to yourself. And I do understand that. And sometimes I battle within my own right. Like, damn, should I even be exposing all of this? But then I come back to the conclusion that the reason I do it is because even though it's not talked about, it happens to a lot of women, and women share a lot of the pain and the grief that I have been through. And I think that if I bring awareness to it and I'm able to share it and not feel so ashamed about it, then we can maybe come to a better place of healing and understand you're not alone, because there was a lot of times where I felt like I'm alone and no one has ever felt that. But in reality, look how many people are in the world. A lot of people feel what you feel. They're just not speaking on it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I like to be raw. I like to be vulnerable. And, you know, growing up, I had a very tough family life as well. And, you know, not the best relationship with my mother, not the best relationship with my father. They're still married and everything. And, you know, I lived in a household with both of them. But it was, you know, it was a lot. And I think that there was a lot of love that I didn't get. And I feel like I never learned how to love myself properly, because I never saw a healthy love or an example of love in a healthy way at all. So for me, instead of like learning to love myself, I was just really hard on myself, very critical on myself. You know, I talked to myself like my mother talked to me. And I then ended up getting in really bad relationships with men, because my whole relationship with a man was about doing everything I can do for this man. So he could love me. Like I want to prove to myself that I am lovable. So I'm going to go above and beyond and do every single thing so you can love me. And then if you cheat or whatever happens, it's like my whole life feels devastated, you know? And just like some months ago, I went through a bad situation where, you know, I lost somebody that I felt I really, really loved and cared about. And, you know, it changed me and shifted me in a whole different way because, you know, I felt like I've never felt that way about anyone. And it was just like, sometimes you meet someone that has a key to unlock a certain part of you. And you just want to be around them because you don't feel like that when you're not. And it's so special. So once that's taken away, you almost feel like, oh my God. But what it taught me was you cannot make a man your world. He can only live in it. And I know that's a saying from a long time ago. But if you make this man everything, and I remember Six had told me this before, you know, when you lose them, you don't have anything left. And now you're starting all over again. And that was kind of my story. And I just feel like I was empty. I didn't feel like I had shit anymore. And it's like, you should not feel like that. And because the pain was so deep, like I literally didn't eat for like 2 weeks. I was sick. Because the pain was so deep though, it had to feel like that. So I knew I had to heal and grow because I never wanted to feel like that again.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Rock bottom. We have to hit it.
Rock bottom. You have to hit it.
Yeah. And then
I've heard that.
You haven't hit a rock bottom
I'm
in
not
dating?
sure.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me. You kind of like coast. It seems like
Yeah.
Jenny B coasts in
If
the
you're
middle.
not sure, Jenny
I
be
mean, I've
Ghosted.
had
That's actually should have been your name. Jenny be Ghosted. Honestly, if you don't know, then you haven't. Because hitting
That's
a rock
right.
bottom
I mean,
is
to
something
me, I
you
was
don't
like,
know.
my mom actually reminded me of like, I forgot why we brought this up, but she was like, yeah, I've been through stuff with guys where I felt like, oh my God, but like, I don't know. I
Never
just,
devastated.
well, yeah, I'm sure I've been devastated. I think maybe I handle it well. I don't know. Like I deject a lot. Like I sleep, like I cope through sleep. I cope through like being alone and like doing my thing. So maybe to other people, they don't see it, but to me, it feels normal because that's just kind of what I do. But I like really liked a guy and then I just like, I tend to be the one who ends relationships. So maybe that's why.
Could be.
Yeah.
That could be. Also, you might have a very solid sense of self. I don't know. Like,
No, that's not it.
Shut up.
What's up? What else you got? What else? You gotta have another. Come on, Doc.
I was gonna say
You
my
gotta
best
have
friend
another.
is
You
sitting
gotta
right
have
there.
another
He might.
choice, Doc. What's
okay,
the
so you have seen her hit rock bottom, and you don't think she has or has had a super solid sense of self.
No, if I'm be honest, everybody rock bottom looks different. It ain't about how it looks, it's about the way it make you feel.
Right.
And we talked about that emotional buffet.
Yeah.
And she has ate from that emotional buffet because I've been rock bottom. And it was the way I felt because the way her rock bottom ain't gonna look the same. It's just the feeling you get from it. Like I can hit you in your knee and it feels just as bad as getting socked in the eye. You know what the pain feel like. It might be in different areas, but I've seen her taste some pretty rancid emotions, and she does have a pretty strong sense of self. She does handle it well. She'll take herself to therapy. She'll start, take self-inventory and try to figure out a healthy way of moving beyond it.
Oh, yeah,
She
we
even
talked
called
about
me and
that.
cried to me, like, and
then
matter of fact, yeah, because that's when I was like, oh shit, she's spiraling. One time you called and oh, that was supposed to
Jenny be spiraling.
Jenny be spiraling. No, it was when you was at your last job and you was telling me everything that was going on. I won't disclose it, but I was like, oh shit. And you was telling me stuff that you had never, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that. Like, you just let it all out. And I was like, oh shit, she's spiraling.
Yeah, I have my points.
But the comeback.
Yeah, the comeback.
The comeback
is stronger.
Took herself to therapy and did things of that nature.
And what about me? You've seen me go through it. What would be your?
You just talk for 5 minutes about what you went through.
No, but I want to hear from a different person. Like, what does he feel how I go through
this time around? I appreciate what you allowed him to do, because one thing you just said, and I was like, "Yup, you really are on your launching pad on your way. You never want to feel that way again." But this heartbreak and what you allowed him to put you through, is what's about to make you, what's making you what you are.
Mm.
You either get hurt enough and you have to change, you learn enough and you want to change, and you have enough where you can change. And you're experiencing a little bit of all three.
Mm.
And I'm so proud of you because you can't fake a change. And if you have to tell people you changed, you haven't.
Mm.
And everybody think they changed until they get mad.
That's
Then they got to start their whole change over. Damn it, got to start my whole change over again.
Yeah.
So that's the real test. When you get mad, are you faced with the same similar opportunity that took you down the rabbit hole the first time?
Yeah.
And you've been faced with it like 3 or 4 different times now. And you just, you maintain your footing. You not get knocked off your pivot. And you've been in your bag. And by your bag, I mean your body, your brains, your beauty,
Booked and
your
busy.
business. And
Yeah.
so what I saw from that right there, I appreciate that type, because what it done for you, like what it's doing for you, it's the old Azar is never to be. And we've had this conversation, just me and her. It's never to be. And I know what that looked like because I've been there. So the pain she felt, she was like, I'm never going to do that again because I'm going to choose better.
Mm-hmm.
And not just choose a person, but choose my emotions better, choose what I choose to ignore better, because you have intuition. There was signs but I see that shift. And I'm very, very, very proud of you because a lot of people don't make that shift. And it's right after that shift that you start to attract everything that you want. So
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
that's
That
very
means a
true.
lot.
And we've had this
But you're
conversation.
still angry in the inside.
You know what I'm saying?
We all have some anger.
Yeah.
We need anger.
Anger is good.
What were you gonna say? You had the
Oh no, I was
conversation?
gonna say we would have conversations, and I think where what I've learned, and kind of like you said with the buffet, I try to take life events as information and not emotionalize as much as possible. So I try to just say, oh, this happened. Do I like it or don't like it? What do I do about it?
Aquarius?
I am not.
Oh, I thought you were about to say I am.
You're about to be like,
what's your sign?
I'm a Taurus.
Okay. Do you know your big three?
Shaq, Kobe.
Shaq, Kobe, and Durant. Who was it? Anyway, no. My
Fourth
rising,
sign.
I think, is my moon, is my motion, right?
Mhm.
Scorpio.
Okay, Scorpio.
And I
moon.
think my rising is Sag.
Okay.
She's sad.
Okay.
Something like that, which I don't understand. But
Okay, I do want. There is something though to like this sense of self.
yeah.
I know a little bit about Azar's background because she shared. In your household, were you criticized often? Were you fed words of affirmation?
No. Criticized? No. Affirmed? No.
Neither.
No. I was very much in a just operational household.
Oh,
That makes sense.
like not super emotional.
Not extremely. No. My mom. I grew up most of my life. My mom was depressed most of my life. She kind of was in bed on the phone talking to my grandmother about everything, all her gripes, all day long. They stayed on the phone for hours.
Oh, okay. So look, a little quick psychoanalysis could be that you witnessed that. You maybe made a decision at one point in your life, like not ever.
I don't. Never
ever will I.
I don't know that I have in that way. But I grew up poor and I made it in that way.
Okay.
I definitely made it in the like, I'm not gonna be struggling like how I grew up struggling.
Okay.
Definitely. But I don't. I went through some therapy. I tried to do some like where people kind of like get you into a deep meditation and bring up things. And the one that came up was that I cried a lot as a child. And then I asked my parents like, oh, so you guys just let me cry? And they would be like, well, your diaper was changing, you ate. And I'm like, you didn't think I needed a fucking hug?
Oh, so Jenny B. Thick been soothing herself. You're an expert self-soother. Oh, wow.
Is that what that is? What does self-soothing mean?
That's when
Like,
you figured it out on your own. Like you had to from an early age.
Yeah.
You're an expert, probably.
Probably
at this
by
point.
now, yeah.
Yeah. How interesting.
But it's comfortable because I feel in control of my emotions. I don't feel in control of my anxiety, but I definitely feel in control of my emotions because I'm aware of them and I like them and I know their information and I'm okay with them.
Yeah.
I'm okay with all of the emotions, up, down, bottom, whatever they are. I'm okay with all of them.
Okay.
If I'm feeling like trash, I'll just say I feel like trash. If I'm tired, I'm tired. If I feel mean or mad, I'll say I'm mad.
I like that. You just roll with
I just
it.
roll. Yeah, what a surprise. I just roll with it. But yeah, that came out. And then my mom tried to apologize, but I realized I was never really mad at her. I was like, I'm pretty sure you did the best with what you had. Like,
I could love a child who had that kind of awareness. As a child, I did not. I think
Yeah,
that's great that
sure.
you can be like realistic, have realistic expectations for your
I'm
parent.
trying, yeah.
Okay.
They run me a little low. I have an interesting relationship with my mother, though. But she is who she is.
Uh-huh.
And I had to just set a boundary with her and leave her there.
That's the work. That's the work.
That's the way.
Okay, question for you, because Azar, we were just talking about how you go low and high, right? You experience all the extremes, and that it is what you said is true. The lower you can go in the depths of the depths, the higher you're able to go in the heights. So I'm curious about you. Do you feel like you experience a wide range?
Probably.
Do you ever have those moments where you're like, fucking shit, this is bliss. Like, I swear to God, this must be heaven. Do you have those kind of like magical? Do you?
Hell yeah.
Do you?
Every day.
Okay. So we might be talking about just like
Why did they
your lived experience. I think like you just, and this happens. Different people are wired differently. We need people like you, because if everybody was like this,
maybe that's why I end up being over here. Like,
that's why she's the balance of us.
I think you're a great balance. Yes, you're a great balance.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. I just, yeah. And if I do, like my best friend, or like you're starting to learn that too, you're like, when's the last time you had sex? And I'm like, a week ago. He's like, yeah, you need to just go over there. Like, if it's like I'm just in a bad mood, or if I'm doing something, but I'm pretty even keel most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with you too, it's like, I wonder, this makes me wonder. Would I rather be just all the way like that, like you, or would I rather experience these high highs, but then the lows is crazy? So I'm like, damn, would you rather just be cruising?
Nah, you need them lows.
I know.
I'm telling you.
You learn from the lows.
My whole first half of my life was low. Everything about, but you need them. I learned rock bottom taught me way more than the mountaintops.
True.
Yeah. Of course.
I learned way more from rock. You need them lows.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna really make you and bring out the hunger in you and redefine and show you who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you evolve and graduate from the emotional despair that you in. Graduate from being in poverty. You graduate from, you need that. Like you really need it. Like taste it, swallow it, swish it around in your mouth, and then spit it out. You get what I'm saying?
You do. You know, yes, I agree with you. And I'm like you, Six, I believe. And you too.
Yeah.
I think we all are very fiery.
Yeah.
And
I
none
think
of us
we
are
all
like you, Jen.
I think we, you know, I believe that
I'm used to that.
divinity rules everything and is brilliant. And some of us came here to roar through our pain. And some of us came here to be the safe landing place for those of us who roar. You know, we all have our heart. We all have our heart.
That was a bar. That was good.
So like,
that's how it feels.
so
with
for you, in the middle probably feels great. And we don't need you to change that.
No,
but sometimes
seriously.
it ends up being because of that. Everyone's like, well, Jen, what do you think? What do you like? They come to me a lot to be the
because you're like the wise,
I'm in the middle,
one.
or I'm just like people. They want me to choose sides. Like my sister and my mom did that to me a lot, or like everyone in the family. Like my father had a stroke last year, and he's staying with me because like I'm probably the only one who kind of lets him be and do whatever he wants. And
so there's a burden to be
a little bit.
I could see that.
A little bit. It's a little bit to being this cool, because then if I do decide I don't want to be cool,
me and Six all the time,
then all your relationships about to change. Who is this?
And I told a friend of mine that I'm like, you know, she was going through some stuff, and I'm like, when you start standing up for yourself, you're gonna see a difference in people, and sometimes you just have to do it anyway. But like it takes me a lot longer to get there.
Okay.
A lot. I mean, I gotta be like, I mean, dated a man for 15 years before I was like, you know what?
Oh,
like, way too.
You value harmony and peace over truth.
Well, I don't know. I just think I'm
I could see that.
I'm tolerant.
Yeah.
I think tolerance is a strong word, but like I'm
Soko got it right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon at all.
Truth is like not the truth part is what I don't understand. What do you mean truth?
Like
I accept that I'm doing something. Like I'll try to do it from a truthful place.
What are you saying, Sis?
Since Soko got it right, because I know her from the inside out. Yeah, so basically, to try to be concise, like if you're in peace and harmony, you're not gonna shake the tree.
No.
You're not gonna ask
and
no
that's
questions.
What it is. You're not
gonna look for you.
Yeah.
That you're gonna live right there in whatever bliss that is.
Hey, and that's your life. You get to do it how you want to do it.
Hedonistic.
Okay.
It's extremely hedonistic. Extremely hedonistic. Like that is my middle name, I think. And the more I looked, I was like, yeah, that's me. I'm on this like hedonistic like vibe.
Hedonistic. In what ways?
I do not like to disrupt my like happiness, my energy, my calm, like whatever I kind of have going on. Like I don't like to disrupt that. I don't like drama. I don't like confrontation. I don't.
Okay.
So
do you find yourself like biting the truth a lot, holding back?
It doesn't feel like that for me. It feels like an indifference.
A
But
true
me-
indifference?
Yeah.
Hey.
Until it's not.
Okay.
Oh,
I wish
that
I could be
word
a little
right
more
there.
indifferent.
That's a trigger word for our group.
What is
That's a trigger.
indifference?
Indifference.
You can't be
That's
indifferent here?
No,
No.
hell no.
Oh wow!
You are
This
not
is
allowed
all
to be
about coming
indifferent.
to me because when Six would say he's indifferent, I get upset, and
Because we want a decision. We
because-
both kind of have gotten on him about being indifferent. Because
Can
we're trying
you
to make
tell them
group.
how wrong they are, please? Thank you, Soko.
Well,
We've been waiting 45 minutes.
Well, listen, we're trying to make determinations about our business, about what we should do for, like, let's say,
Talk,
episodes.
but tell
or-
the whole story. I will give my opinion.
He does sometimes.
And then if you go the opposite direction, cool, just go with that.
Yeah,
But
see?
don't make me argue
But
with
see
you.
the way
If I
you're saying it,
wait,
though?
Soko, if I say A and you say B and I say fuck it, do B, I'm not prepared to go argue. I'm not going to convince you to do A.
Well, do you
can
really
have
not
B.
care?
When I don't, I don't.
Mhm.
That's
Everything
actually
ain't worth
true?
fighting for. Yeah, everything ain't worth
Okay.
fighting for. Some things, especially in business, when you have 3 different personalities, 3 different upbringings, 3 different ideals, 3 different opinions, the little stuff don't matter to me.
Okay.
It don't matter. But
we
what
wanna
does
converse about it? Like, we want to have a
What-
conversation.
Yeah,
but-
so
You
want
it's
everyone
a very
included.
male
Yeah.
and women communication thing. Because to me, it's like if I'm talking about something and I want to like challenge it and I want to like get opinions and get advice and then come to the conclusion together, and then he's like, "I'm indifferent. Fuck it, do B." And then I'm just
it
like,
depends on what it is.
wow.
When if it's something that doesn't compromise the bottom line,
Mhm.
You don't
and
care.
it's just yes,
We're starting to
if it
understand
falls
I'm
in a,
trying to understand
if
that
it
now.
falls in a
Yeah.
category of preference and opinion, but it don't jeopardize the bottom line, I'm not finna go back and forth with you over that. That's just who's to say my preference is better than yours?
Right.
So just roll with yours.
We don't
when
think
I'm
it's
ready,
back and forth. We think
when
it's We think it's conversely. We're just talking.
I don't want to converse about
Exactly.
it. When I'm ready to converse about something, then I'll stand
See,
up and
and
say,
That's where we
This
have to
is-
That's where
learn.
we-
This is where we have to
this
learn.
is what I want to converse about.
And
I
I
pick and
told
choose
him-
my battles.
And I even talked
What
to
my
him on
wife
it.
say though? Because
She said that I asked his wife.
without
I
me
did.
even
And
knowing.
she was like,
she
sometimes he just if he doesn't have an opinion, then just go with that.
Okay.
Like you have to not. I think it was his delivery to us.
Yes.
It's the delivery. It's not just like, hey, you guys, you know what? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent. Go for it.
Exactly.
He's like,
Sometimes
whatever
it's
you
not
pick,
a good
fuck
idea.
it. Who cares?
And I say that's stupid. But okay, we
See?
can do it.
Oh,
It's
do you say that? You say
stupid,
that's
but okay.
Is that the is do you
That's
feel like
exactly
that's
how
the
he
best
says
way
it.
you want to show up?
Sometimes I do, and most of the time I don't. Most of the time I want to convey it in a way where it will land
Okay,
and
that's
have
an
a
honest
positive
thing. Okay.
outcome. But sometimes I do not care. I'm gonna show up my unvarnished self,
Mhm.
and you take it or leave it. I'm gonna show up my unvarnished self. And sometimes if it depends on how the level of stupidity, I'm gonna say stupid is an
It
actual
will.
word in the dictionary.
Yeah.
And if what you said falls under that word, I'm gonna use it. We live in a time right now when people trying to censor words. You can't say this. And if the word is in the dictionary and you fall under that motherfucker, I'm using it.
Regardless of how it makes you
I
feel.
don't care how it make you feel. That's on you and what you got to do. When I don't care. When I do care, I do care. When I don't, I don't. I am all of the above. I'm not always Buddha and I'm not always Malcolm X.
Mhm.
I fall in between depending on where I'm at. And I usually assess where I want to be. I'm a quick thinker. And if I decide, no, I'm going to stand right here on it, I'm going to stand on it. But again, that is the word. Like, she got mad because I said she was single.
That's not why I got
No,
mad.
you
Well,
told
I
her
delivered
to
it in a
That's
way.
not how
Okay,
I got mad.
I'm
That's
finna
not how
clean
I
it
got
up because that
mad.
ain't fair to you. But I delivered it in a way because even Jim was like, "You called her single." And I was
No,
like,
that's
no,
not
no,
what
no,
Jen
no.
said.
You wasn't on the phone with me and Jim, was you?
I thought
Hold
you
on,
were
was
on
you?
the podcast.
Okay, let me finish. We was on the phone and she was like, "You called her single though, Six."
That's not what I
I
was mad
said you
about.
told her to shut her single ass
If
up.
Six would have said, "Shut your ass up," I would have been still hot.
I
Whether you
believe-
said single
I
or not,
believe you.
it's not the
I
single
believe you.
part that
I
had me.
believe you.
It's not the single part that had me mad. I'm a single woman. I'm
I
not
think he
ashamed
getting
of
there.
that.
I
He
believe
getting there.
you.
He getting
Okay.
But I'm going to our conversation now that me and Jen had. And I said,
Yeah.
Jen, well, she is single.
Yeah.
How could that be
Offensive.
offensive?
Shut your single ass up. How could that
No,
be offensive?
we isolating the word single.
Well, we can't. It's contact.
We
Isolate
can
the
because I
word.
had to address that to make sure she wasn't mad at that.
Okay, she
So
was
I'm
not.
I
Well, you
work
were
in reverse.
discounting her credibility based on her status,
Correct.
and that is offensive.
Yes, no, it's not offensive because a lot of people, not saying you, but a lot of these motherfuckers are ultra crepidarians sitting on podcasts and talking about a bunch of non sequiturs that's asinine and don't make no sense.
We were
So I'm
talking
not
about
gonna
what
let you-
women want.
Wait, hold on,
though,
I'm
and I
addressing
am
Soko.
a woman.
I'm addressing Soko and I'm gonna let her
That is awesome.
But there's a lot of people, if I feel at the moment you're being an ultra-crepidarian, I'm going to speak
up. Is
up.
that the word for today? Did you call her a pescatarian?
She is...
You trying to tell her because she eat fish and she's single?
And I'm allergic
dumb.
to fish.
You're
so
dumb.
I don't know what you're trying to say
An
there.
ultra-crepidarian is somebody that gives knowledge, gives opinion and advice beyond their own knowledge. That is an ultra-crepidarian.
So it's beyond my own knowledge to know what women want.
No,
because I'm a
when
woman.
we were sitting there, I don't remember exactly
We
what
were
that
talking
conversation
about what
was,
women
but
want.
it's nuanced.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
It's nuanced, though.
Jen
It's
knows.
nuanced.
So
though.
you told me to shut my single ass up because I was talking about what women want. And I'm a woman.
nuanced.
And also I'm a
Gonna
woman
stick to
who's
that,
been in
friend?
a lot of
Yeah, because she's
relationships,
making it fun.
long-term relationships, live with men. And I actually can give advice based off what not to do. I've done a lot of things in relationships. I've learned a lot of things and I have a lot of knowledge. And I also have wisdom that is God-given. I believe that a lot of my wisdom is not because of my experience. A lot of my wisdom is given to me by God and inherited and passed down from generations of my family. My dad is very wise. My grandmother is very wise. So a lot of my wisdom is a gift from God. A lot of the ways that I'm able to talk, the gift of gab, is because of my wisdom. Now, a lot of the things that I'm talking about, like what women want and about relationships, I resonate with a lot of people because I've been a woman who has navigated the relationship space for X amount of years. I've been with a man. I
So
lived
she's
with a
not
man. I've dated a
pescatarian.
man.
She could talk about it.
And, and that's what I was saying.
She's not an equestrian.
But I think we have to wrap up the
We do.
show, y'all.
We do.
Because
Can
it's
we
been a
bring
good
We
show.
got like a
Soko
minute
back?
and a half.
Yeah, I would love to bring Soko back. Would you love to come back?
Sure, on a Sunday, parking was easy.
Yeah.
And traffic
Well,
was
let's
light.
talk about it. Let's see what she's willing to do because we would love to bring her back. It was a really great episode, y'all. You know we fuck with y'all the long way. We're trying to get ourselves together and, I'm trying not to yell anymore. So I hope you
can
appreciate
yell. Don't
that.
let them people tell you not to yell.
No, they don't want to hear it. It's on the mics and on the ear. You got.
Yeah, I get it.
The
I get
decibels.
it.
It's just
on the ears.
decibels.
Yeah.
it's-
Just turn your volume down a little bit. Damn. But anyways, we really appreciate
Yes.
Soko
Thank you,
coming
Soko.
on. Like, you were
It was fun. It was
amazing.
fun. I
Thank
appreciate
Can
you
we
the
so
snap it up
much.
for Soko?
Yeah.
Snap it up
Thank
for
you, thank you,
Soko.
thank you.
She did her big one.
Yeah,
We
I'm
love
here for
it.
it.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.
All right, guys, that is it. We have ran out of time. But if you like what you heard or disagree with what you heard today, please let us know. Follow us on Instagram at the UAF Podcast and also like and subscribe to our YouTube, the UAF Podcast. Again, we always read your comments and we always respect your perspective. Thank you for tuning in. This is the UAF crew. And as always, we are not sorry.